my worst moments when I was battling fistula is when I was having the conflict, of course, with my husband at that time, because, you know, the smell, the funny, you know, and you see, when talking about feces leaking, feces is very sensitive. My name is Sharon Korir. I'm a mother of 2 sons. I'm also a lawyer and founder Save a Woman Fistula Foundation. Yeah, so basically I got fistula in 2017 after the delivery of my child. You know, at that time, just like any other mother, you go to hospital, yeah, then you're induced. So my doctor came in late. Yeah, I prolonged for I got prolonged labor.
Let me cut you short. Before you proceed, I would like to request you, at least you highlight to my viewers what is fistula before you proceed.
Oh, fistula is a tear. Yeah, it's a tear on the vagina that extends to the rectum. Yeah, so once there's a tear, it becomes a hole. Yeah, because of course our organs, the vagina is a separate organ from the rectum. So if there's a fistula, there's a tear, the thrush causes one particular hole. And you'll find that there's an interchange of organs. You'll start releasing stool from your vagina and vice versa. Then it varies, yeah. Normally there's urine incontinence. There are different degrees of fistula. I had 4th degree tear. So the degree also varies. You can find that there are women who just get incontinence when they laugh. You know, they discharge urine and all that. When they cough, they discharge urine. However, fistulas are, they're tears. They're tears that happen on women, mainly obstetric during childbirth. Yeah.
Now give us your story. What exactly happened?
Yeah. So in 2017, when I was expecting my baby, just like any other mother, excited, I'm going to, to hospital to get my baby. I went on my expected date of delivery, and sadly, my doctor induced me and left. So by the time he came back, it was a bit too late. I had prolonged labor. You know, baby was so tired. I was so tired. I ended up delivering on my own. So baby tore my vagina, and it extended over to the rectum, so it became a hole. Then of course, yeah. So of course, at that time, I didn't even know what fistula is. Yeah, I didn't know what it is. I didn't even know like what is happening to me, because I was in hospital for about 21 days. At that time, my baby was in the ICU in oxygen, and I was so overwhelmed with my parenting, breastfeeding, so many things, trying to get pumping breast milk, the nurses. When I got home after discharge, about 21 days is when I realized that my body is not okay. Yeah.
What kind of sign that did you get for you to get alarm that you are not okay or you're not right?
Jael, what happens is that when we give birth in the African culture, we stay at home. You stay within the constraints of the bedroom as you try and nurse the baby, as you try and feed. So I realized, what is this smell? You know, what is this discharge that is not ordinary? And normally as a mother, there's that particular normal discharge that you get after delivery. But this one was just different, because I had my first experience. I have a first baby. And so I realized this one is different. And how come like on my sanitary towels, I'm releasing stool at the upper part, on where the vagina is, and it's endless. I mean, it's continuous. So that's when I thought at some point I thought I had gone crazy, like psycho, because being in hospital, my baby going through a lot of blood exchange, oxygen, so many things. I realized I had lost it, or going through postnatal depression, and just so after like about a week, 2 weeks, I kept cool,
What I'm trying to understand, you didn't get alarmed while in hospital. You just learned it after you were discharged. Now you are at home.
Yes.
You never realized while still in hospital.
No, when I was in hospital, I didn't realize that I have fistula, because as a mother, my mind was just in my baby. Yeah. So my baby had complications of blood exchange. He had issues with bilirubin levels, so he had to be put. They had to remove blood from his system, put fresh blood, and then it was very invasive for a 3-day-old. So to be very sincere, my mind was so much on my baby. I didn't really get to realize that that I was not okay. To be very honest, yes.
So this happened after now some days. That is when you learned that you are not okay.
Yeah.
Like a week.
Like it took me about a couple of weeks. Like about 2 weeks, I realized I'm not fine because of the discharge. And at some point, I didn't even know who I would tell. I've never heard of anything like that. So I kept cool. About 6 weeks later, I called my sister-in-law, who's a nurse in Kenyatta, and I shared my experience. I told her, you know what, this is what is happening. I'm releasing stool from my vagina, and I don't know whether I don't know whether it's okay. I don't know whether it's normal. But is it hard off? I'm not seeing it on Google. I'm not really reading much on it, as I do my little research. So she told me what you do. There's a fistula camps going on in Kenyatta, and they're in the media. So I need to find out the days that they're there, so that I can do screening and determine whether I really have fistula. So yes, so I went, and yes, I was diagnosed with rectovaginal fistula.
How did you react when you were told that you are now suffering from fistula? How did you react, and how did you cope up with it?
To be honest, Jael, I was depressed. I was so depressed because for one, we've been in hospital for 21 days and my baby has gone through a lot and his immunity is down, he needs to breastfeed. Then again, I'm thinking, we go back again to hospital for surgery. And then what is this? What is it, the gaps? Is there anything that I did wrong? You know the way you have to search yourself and find out, is there anything I did wrong to God or to, I wrestled with so many things at that time, wondering why? Why do I have to go through so much pain? Why am I leaking urine and feces? Why? And then, of course, at that point, there's a lot of friction. So as you walk there, you make noise. And I had told my surgeon, my gyna at that time, and the gyna told me what you need to do is you need to do Kegels. Keep doing Kegels, keep holding, as you go to the, ladies, keep holding your muscles, which I did, but it was just continuous, the same problem. The same experience. And when eventually, of course, now I'm told I have rectovaginal fistula, it wasn't easy. To be honest, I was so depressed. I'm thinking, where will I leave my baby? He's breastfeeding, he's a small, and here I am, I'm supposed to go to hospital, and so many things crossed my mind.
You talked about noticing some smell.
Yeah.
I would like to understand, for taking for that long without realizing, do you stay with anybody and you didn't even get a comment from the people you stay with?
At that time, the father of my children was working out of town. But of course, I think also when you're nursing a small baby who has issues with his immunity, and you've been told how you need to be taken for checkup like every fortnight to ensure that the blood that he's stable because of the blood exchange, you tend to really concentrate so much on your baby. And I'll tell you for a fact that at some point, of course, when you're breastfeeding and you're from hospital and you're depressed, you're not eating like food. You're licking more liquids, like drinking chocolate, like lots of uji, like more of the fluids, because you're not settled psychologically to start eating food. So at that point in time, though, it was more like flowing like more liquid-like as compared to the normal. And then, of course, over time is when I just had to share it with my sister-in-law, because it got to a point now you don't know, you need to speak it out. It's not easy telling somebody that you are leaking urine and feces, but eventually I did, yes. Yeah.
Now that here you've been confirmed you are suffering from fistula, I want you to take us through the stigma in between that process.
Yeah.
What did you go through, and how did you overcome it?
Jael, I'm a sanguine. I love people. I love visitors any day. I have my baby and I want them to come see my baby, my cousins, my siblings, my family, my friends. But at that time I was withdrawn. I totally withdrew, kept off from people. I didn't want visitors to come. So of course there's a part where you feel like you're beginning to get low self-esteem. Yeah, because you need people to visit, you need people to talk to, even as you're confined in your house. And then of course there's a bit of friction, of course, even in marriage, because what is it that you're smelling? Why? What? Have you let loose? You've given birth. Have you let loose? Are you not hygienic? So many gaps, because when you have a small baby, you're ever overwhelmed with baby having colic, whether baby is breastfeeding well. You're really, there's so much, you're so engrossed on a small baby that, of course, even as much as you clean, it wouldn't be as similar as now when we don't have children.
True.
So of course there's a gap, those gaps in my marriage at that time, and yes, but of course, when we got to know that it was fistula, and after this surgery and all that, life resumed back to normal. So there's a lot of stigma, even as I reach out to beneficiaries of my foundation. Women have been left by their spouses. Women actually leave, right? Then again, there's a perception that it's witchcraft associated. What did you do that is making you be the way you are? Like some stigma, like some sort of a taboo. And then what did your family do? Then sadly, majority of the women who get fistula are poor. So these are women in the marginalized areas. These are women who are probably in the slums. These are women who can access proper health care. Yeah, so it goes back again to a situation where a woman doesn't know who to talk to. This is an educated woman who doesn't know where she will go. So what does the husband do? He gets another wife and he moves on. So this lady, of course, gets into depression because she cannot cook for her husband in that state. She cannot make love to her husband in that state. So slowly she gets into depression, and then sadly there are cases that they actually do die. Yeah.
You as a survivor,
Yes.
I would like you to tell me what was the worst moment when you are battling this fistula thing?
The worst moment when I was battling fistula is when I was having the conflict, of course, with my husband at that time, because the smell, the funny, and you see, when talking about feces leaking, feces is very sensitive. Yeah, just like when you go to the loo and probably don't clean well. So of course there's an infection that comes with it, and at the same time. You don't even want to be in the people's space, so you withdraw, and I think that's the infections that come with it, the loneliness that comes with fistula, that something that you've not had anybody talking about it, who you can talk to. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I had totally nobody to reach out to tell them, this is what is happening, because matter sexuality is very private. Anything to do with your sexuality is so personal. So I was at that season, I was in some sort of a cocoon, just living my life, trying to breastfeed my baby, and of course seeking for help now eventually. Yeah.
If you're talking of leaking of fecal, does it mean that it just come out unknowingly? You don't realize when it is out, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I got 4th degree tear. Yeah, my tear was 4th degree tear. So yes, it was uncontrollable leaking of urine and uncontrollable leaking of feces. So of course, as I advanced in, as I said, feeding very well, because baby also demands for breastfeeding, it became, of course, more. You could actually see that this is actually, this is that feces and this is leakage of urine, and so yeah, that's the saddest part about what we go through as women with fistula. Yeah, so you realize that, and every woman reacts differently. There are those who just simply discharge urine alone, that's a basic vaginal fistula, and there are those of us who discharge feces, that's rectovaginal fistula.
Did you experience in any way any embarrassing moments?
I was lucky. I think I was very lucky, because at that time I was in maternity. Like when you've just given birth and you're constrained at home. So for me, I was not really. I didn't get my friends coming, and I didn't really go out a lot. But what I used to make sure I do is that I have to keep changing my sanitary towels, even when I had to leave. Yeah, for baby's checkup because of his complications. So I really kept, of course, very discreet and the best way I could to ensure that nobody noticed at that time. Yeah.
Psychologically, how were you affected?
Fistula makes you devastated. It's dehumanizing. You fear of, will I ever be fine again? There's an aspect of, will I ever sexually satisfy my spouse or my partner? There's a lot of fear of affirmation, validation. Am I worth it? Am I just like any other woman or girl? So those are the gaps that a woman with fistula will be battling with over and over. So there's a lot of psychosocial support that needs to be done. And remember, I went through prolonged labor, so mentally I'm even overwhelmed. Mentally I'm sick. I'm disturbed, because labor in its own is really traumatic. The pain, the contractions, and then to a point now again. You have fistula, and then again back again to trying to adjust to your norm and living life to suit, more like some survival mechanism. And we find that women in the marginalized areas who've even lived with fistula for 40 years, for 11 years, for 12 years, and the beneficiaries of my foundation who've lived with it for so many years, and others not only even leak urine and feces, they also release gas. Yeah, so there's a face stigma in the workplaces. People don't want to sit near you. Why are you smelling? Yeah, and as I even came out to speak about it, I remember even my auntie, my relatives, my friends reaching out and telling me it explains why there's a certain lady in the office who's ever smelling urine. Not because they don't take a bath. It's simply because they probably are having incontinence, and they don't know who to reach out to. They don't know who to share about such a very private conversation like this. Now that we live in a cultural society where matter sexuality is not talked about at all.
How long did it take you to bring your mind together, gather courage, and then say, okay, I need help. This one I must find a way out?
When I got to a point now where now my milk was flowing, you know, my baby was getting the flow of the milk. So once you see, there's nothing as nice as a mother breastfeeding her baby. So when I just said, I realized, you know, my milk is coming out well, baby is getting comfortable in the comfort of a baby who's not well, whose immunity is down. I reached out to my sister-in-law at that time and I told her, you know, this is it. This is what is happening to me. I need assistance. And yes, and she guided me on what to do.
How easy was it, and then what are the most likely effect that someone suffering from fistula should expect?
Yeah, so fistula is rampant. Sadly, I gave birth in one of the best hospitals in this country, but yes, I got fistula. So it happens. Fistula it's not only a poor man's disease, it happens to anybody, any woman of childbearing age. Then secondly, it's common. Yeah, it's a common disease that happens in 100 women, one birth gets fistula. So it's a disease that is there and needs to be addressed, and women can get assistance and can go back to shape or normal. Yeah.
Having fully healed, of which I'm sure you are now fully healed, and now you are the ambassador. What are the gaps that you learned that should be filled?
Yeah. For one, we have an issue with our reproductive health legislation. We don't have proper legal framework for reproductive health healthcare. So as now we have a reproductive health bill that is in the Senate that is being championed by Honorable Susan Kihika. So we need to have a reproductive health bill that even also provides not only for surrogacy, not only for antenatal, postnatal care, termination of pregnancies. We also need one that will tackle for fistula. So we are recommending that if they kindly, we would have provisions for fistula. And then also we need to raise awareness, because most people don't know about fistula. We need to create awareness. Fistula, we need sensitization, because most women in the marginalized areas don't know what it is. We also didn't know what it is, and we've gone to law school. I've gone to law school. There's no day and point in time where we have broken the barriers of culture and talked about issues of fistula and reach out and just to bring hope and also restoration for marriages.
Talking of creating awareness, I'm sure there are people probably they could be suffering from fistula but they're not aware. What are the possible signs that one should note whenever after birth? These are the signs that one should know that these are fistula.
Okay, one sign of fistula is one. Have you been raped? You know, are you leaking urine after a rape? You know, are you leaking urine after FGM, femoral genital mutilation? Are you leaking urine after childbirth? You know, what caused the leakage? Yeah. Then again, you're leaking urine and feces as well. So most women get vesicovaginal fistula. So anytime you're leaking urine and feces, yes, probability that it is a fistula is also very high. So you check within your space, and then also when you laugh and cough and you do daily duties, you'll find that you're beginning to discharge a smell, a urine smell, and you're discharging urine and all that. So you'll realize that also women who get urine incontinence, they laugh and cough, they discharge urine. So you start, that's when you realize that you have fistula.
Yes. I would like you to give a word of encouragement to my good viewers outside there who will be watching us, and probably they could be suffering, or one of the family members suffering from fistula. What can you tell them?
I'd like to encourage a sister who is probably, you know, leaking urine or feces and you don't know what to do. I just want to tell you that you can get healing. Fistula is a disease that's like any other. Like we talk about cancer, like when you talk about, you know, high blood pressure. And yes, you can get surgery and life can resume back to normalcy.